What's going on, YouTube? Many automotive brands have one universal design language that they scale up and down depending on the size of the application. However, that is certainly not the case with Hyundai, which has no qualms about making each of their vehicles look distinctly different, including two of their most popular SUVs, the Tucson and Santa Fe. Even though they don't look like they are from the same brand, there is actually a good deal of overlap between them, which had us and others wondering, which is the best pick? Well, let's go ahead and put this refreshed Tucson head-to-head against the all-new Santa Fe. So as always, let's start off by establishing the pricing to see if the Santa Fe is worth the extra money. Starting with the refreshed Tucson, we have the loaded trim called Limited. It's about $42,000 for 2025 after destination. Moving to the Santa Fe, when you pick its fully loaded trim, you have the Calligraphy, which rings in at a total price of $50,465. Of course, as always, we will be revisiting the price difference to assess the value proposition later on in this comparison. And if you're new to our comparisons, we conduct them objectively, with points awarded throughout in major and minor categories. Also, if you want to get the best price from local dealerships and access to invoice pricing info for these two models or any vehicle, we have a tool on our website to do just that. It's great for shopping, so be sure to check the link in the description for more information. With that all being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Starting with the exteriors, as I already mentioned, most people wouldn't even realize that these two are sibling vehicles from the same company. But both are very bold in their own unique ways, so we want to know which styling approach you all prefer in the comments below. Outside of the nearly bizarre shapes, both SUVs have premium projector LED headlights, with LED turn signals, daytime running lights, and no fog lamps. Continuing to the sides, these new generations both grew a bunch over their previous generations, and now they have about 8 inches of length separating them. We will see later on if those extra 8 inches deliver a big advantage in cargo and passenger space, but until then, note that the Santa Fe has 1 inch larger alloy wheels at 20 inches versus 19 inches. Moving out back, they have very similar features, again with very dissimilar designs. Both have mostly LED taillight clusters, but incandescent reverse lights, exhaust outlets are hidden, and so are the wipers for all-weather protection. Even the tow ratings are the same. As far as the mirrors are concerned, they both have blind spot monitoring, heating, and LED turn signals, plus the Santa Fe adds in power folding. And speaking of blind spot monitoring, family SUVs need to be safe, and one of the really nice things about these two is that all 4 of your major active safety systems are included as standard equipment. They also have highway drive assist, and the smart park system that can pull the vehicle into and out of tight parking spots unmanned. The Santa Fe is all new and the Tucson heavily updated, so now let's see those important interiors next. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Approaching both SUVs, they have smart entry systems and remote start on Hyundai's newest key fob. But after opening up the doors, you'll see that these two have some important things that are the same and many that are different. Before we start to dig into all those features, let's start with the seats. Both models are covered in real leather, but the Santa Fe has high-end Napa leather. Additionally, as you can see, the Santa Fe has more ways of adjustment, and it even has a full relaxation mode for taking ultimate naps. Regardless, both models do have heating and ventilation for the front seats. And once inside the cabins, let's check out the major point category of material quality. The Tucson has always had one of the best cabins in the segment, and it continues to be made of pretty premium materials like leatherette, soft touch plastic, and piano black. However, the Santa Fe impresses even more, with extra leatherette over most of the touch points, realistic faux wood trim, and a suede headliner. After startup, you begin to see just how big of an interior refresh the Tucson got this year, since the screen tech is no longer integrated and is the same unit as the Santa Fe. It's a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster with a few design choices, and blind spot cameras built in. Tucson also introduces a head-up display for the first time, matching the Santa Fe. Moving back, they both have heated, leather-wrapped steering wheels with the Morse code logo, and even rain-sensing wipers. You may also notice the fingerprint readers located to the left of the gauges, which are used to sync driver profiles and can allow the vehicle to start securely with the digital key system. Now it's time to evaluate another major interior section, storage. Hyundai revised this area on the Tucson to give it more space than ever, and it is excellent for the compact class. However, it's the Santa Fe you'll want if you have a lot of stuff to haul around in the front of the cabin. It has a massive center console that swallows 24 donuts, sensor pass-through storage, and 2 passenger storage shelves. In addition to having more space, Santa Fe also has a feature advantage here as well. It has 2 wireless phone charging pads instead of 1, and a UV light treatment system for sanitizing your phone or keys. Both models have the same electronic shifter, and when in reverse, you'll find the same advanced 360-degree camera system. They also have the same climate controls with a combination of physical and digital buttons. Above them, you'll find volume knobs for the audio systems. Let's hear a sample. While both models have Bose systems, the Santa Fe has more speakers and a bit more premium listening experience. People want a high level of technology in cars nowadays, so let's move to the key element of the displays. After the Tucson's refresh this year, as you can see, they are the same. These are 12.3-inch screens running Hyundai's newest CCNC infotainment software. That includes key features such as navigation and wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. As we wrap up the front of the cabins, both models have auto-dimming mirrors with HomeLink remotes, but the Santa Fe's has rear camera functionality if you flip the switch. Up top, they both have panoramic moonroofs that open, although the Santa Fe's is configured in a dual-panel arrangement. Now moving to the back areas, this is where you see a lot more differences crop up in space and features. For the second row, Tucson's legroom and headroom figures are very large for its class, and actually under a 5% difference from the Santa Fe. However, it has to be mentioned that the Santa Fe has a third row of seats as standard equipment with this new generation. This is obviously something that the Tucson cannot match, so if there is any chance you'll be hauling around extra people, this is a big benefit in favor of the Santa Fe. But returning to the second rows, let's talk about the features. Both models have heated seats, USB ports, and climate vents. However, only the Santa Fe has sunshades and power adjusting seats with relaxation mode. Next, let's see how much stuff you can bring along with you for the journey. Both have power tailgates with hands-free ability, and once they open up, you might be surprised to learn that space is relatively close. Now yes, the Santa Fe does have more space, but the maximum cargo capacity difference is just 6.6%, and behind the second row, just 4.5%. A bigger thing to consider is that the tailgate opening is 8 inches wider in the Santa Fe for those extra long objects. Neither model has spare tires in the hybrid variants. And speaking of hybrid, let's take these two family options out on the road and see which does it the best. Besides for a few areas of the interiors, these two are mostly different in all the ways you can see, but the things you cannot see are quite similar. We have the hybrid versions today, which have the same 1.6-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engines, paired with electric componentry. Acceleration feels largely the same, and both hit 60 miles per hour in the mid 7-second range. Alright, so that was just above 60 miles an hour going up a hill. And we'll stop here at this red light. So this, of course, as we mentioned, obviously is the Santa Fe hybrid, and it's got a totally different powertrain versus the gas option. So this, again, to remind you, is a 1.6-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine that works in conjunction with your electric motor and your other electric components. Total power, 232 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. Alright, so that was taking it up to 60 miles per hour. What we're driving right now is the hybrid model, and even though it is a carryover powertrain, for the most part there is a small tweak. We have a little bit of a more powerful electric motor on board, which is actually the same as what you get in the larger Santa Fe hybrid, and that's going to give it an additional 5 horsepower, bringing our total up to 231 horsepower from a 1.6-liter turbocharged four-cylinder engine. When it comes to the transmissions, they both have 6-speed automatics and all-wheel drive. Besides for some occasional slower shifts, many people will prefer this configuration to the rivals, which largely use CVTs. As you could probably hear there, we are shifting through a transmission. That's because, surprisingly, unlike most of the rivals' hybrid systems, the Santa Fe hybrid uses a 6-speed automatic transmission instead of a continuously variable transmission. Now you might have noticed as I accelerated hard there, one of the other unique things about Hyundai's hybrid system, and that's the fact that it actually has a traditional transmission. Most of the rivals are going to be using a continuously variable transmission, but Hyundai opts to use a conventional 6-speed automatic. Now in terms of this, obviously if you're the type of person that prefers that more traditional experience, less drone and things like that, you are going to really like this 6-speed automatic. You're probably wondering how quiet the cabins are when cruising. Well, that is why here at Car Confections, we take a sound level reading of every vehicle we test on the channel. I do want to point out that Tucson's reading was taken in California on a press drive, so it's unofficial until we get it home to Kentucky on our local roads. But even with the rougher roads, the Tucson preliminarily tested quieter.
57.5 decibels is our official Car Confections sound level reading.
All right. We dropped to 55.4 decibels in this Tucson hybrid.
Now let's talk about an important part for any family SUV, the ride quality. In this area, both are good, but the Santa Fe really impresses. Its suspension is tuned pretty softly, which makes it absorb all but the largest imperfections with ease. Conversely, the Tucson feels sportier and more agile with its firmer suspension tuning. And we're on a pretty bumpy road, as you can probably tell, but this is a good time to go ahead and talk about ride quality, because this is really putting it to the test. So in this class, obviously comfort is pretty much king. And even here on our limited trim level of the Tucson with the largest wheel option, ride quality remains very comfortable. Lastly, both achieve great fuel economy as expected. The Tucson gets 1 mpg better overall according to the EPA, but that's not enough of a difference to score a point. Now before we wrap up here, we have to circle back to the price difference for a value assessment. The Santa Fe cost a substantial $8,125 more than the Tucson in today's test, which means the Tucson will get 4 points according to our scale. Keep in mind that many of the lower trims have less of a price difference, and most of the same points will still apply. I also want to emphasize that if money matters less to you personally, feel free to disregard these points. So there you have it, another family comparison between two popular Hyundai crossovers. So let's go ahead and recap here a little bit with which one you should choose based on what is most important to you. So you should probably choose the Tucson if, of course, you are looking to save some money. It is going to be the less expensive option across all the trim levels. Also, if you're looking to get really largely the same features and technology, again, for the money. And then finally, you also have similar rear space and cargo capacity, which is kind of unexpected, but they are a lot more similar than one would expect.
Now, on the flip side, the Santa Fe should be your choice if you want the most luxurious interior. With the Calligraphy version, it is still going to be nicer than the limited version of the Tucson with some of those special elements like a suede headliner. Now, as far as other things, it does have a very boxy exterior design, so if you like that look, that's really going to be found only in the Santa Fe, and it has a few exclusive features like a power adjusting second row, as well as a third row if you need that functionality. But we want to know which one of these two family rivals you're taking. Are you taking the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe or the refreshed Hyundai Tucson? Let us know your thoughts down below. Also, if you're in the market to buy either one of these SUVs or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But that's going to be where we leave off on this comparison. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, we'd appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun. I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.